There we go. Welcome to the show tonight. Today on the Tony Gomez Show, we have 2 out of 3 of the members of this extremely brutal fucking death metal band that has been just destroying my ears for the past weekend. And they are called Parasitic Septicity. Welcome, guys. Thanks for coming to the show today.
Hell yeah. Thanks for having us, Tony. Really appreciate
man.
it, bro.
Thank you for coming back a second time on the show. I've already had Dan on the show before last year. And because of his perseverance, his grind, his love for fucking death metal, he has brought forth Parasitic Septicity with Josef here on drums, and we're missing their singer Sebastian. He's working, he's doing the grind, but these three have come up with some sick fucking music. So for all my death metal fans, you have got to give Parasitic Septicity a listen. Check them out on your Spotify, your favorite music platform. It's out. They just dropped their new release, just dropped on Friday the 19th, and it is a genesis of the Infestation. And super sick, 2 big fucking tracks on there, and we'll get into those in a little bit. But let's go ahead and get things started. Daniel, thanks a lot for coming back on the show again. I have a feeling, but just by looking at doing some research in the Facebook on Parasitic's Facebook page, that this may have originated out of your place with the riffs and this and that, and maybe kind of branched out looking for the right musicians. Is that how Parasitic got formed?
Yeah, that's pretty much absolutely how it started, dude. I mean, I'm always riffing here at the pad, man, and just like documenting ideas, you know what I mean? Like too many ideas and too many projects and stuff, right? So like I actually had this name for the longest time, dude. Like even before I met Josef, you know, I had this name and just kind of been on the side, like I said, like all these ideas, kind of like OCD with projects, right? And then, dude, at the time just kind of came right. I wasn't really like doing anything, like the fall thing kind of fizzled away. Remember we talked about that on the last time. And then I jammed with Vile for a little bit, so that was sick.
Yeah.
And, I wasn't really doing anything. So I was like, you know what? Now's the time to like resurrect some ideas, put it together and like make it like super sick, dude. And I also got to give a shout out to like an online community that I joined called Riff Hard, which is like a metal school where they like you learn techniques and stuff like that, and kind of just like rhythm playing, right? But through there, I met like some really cool cats, dude, some really cool homies that I got to give a shout out to, my death metal bros. And in there we created like this chat, right? Where we're just like sharing ideas and riffs and things like that. And we're kind of like motivating each other, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And everybody's super cool and badass in that chat group, right? And so that kind of beefed me up and motivated me to like really put something together to kind of move forward, right? So that's really how it started, dude. Just like me chipping away at some riffs, bringing back some ideas, and then putting the songs together like just in my living space. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then just kind of like sitting on that for a while, because even when the songs were done, it was like, okay, you know, should I do anything with this, or should I like, you know, do another project kind of thing? Again, that project OCD kind of thing. But I felt like I had like something like really sick that finally I could connect to the Parasitic Septicity name. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then from there, it was just like, all right, I got to find the right guys for this. Because, dude, one thing that we definitely got to talk about is like I had a vision for it, right?
Yeah.
Like I've got riffs and I collect ideas, right? But for this, it's like, okay, I had a certain vision, so it had to be like a certain way kind of thing. And I wasn't going to like settle
Right.
for like just finding like guys or people that could just hop in, you know what I mean? Like,
Sure. Right.
I was patient and like had to find the right people. And again, I had to like fulfill that vision of like what I had in my head. to find the right people. So that's really how it started. And then finding the members. Yeah.
All right. As far as the drums for it, do you have a drum program that you use to put your ideas together with the strings?
Yeah, man. So like it's pretty much like behind the scenes, man. Like I'm doing everything here on the computer, which is awesome because like nowadays, like we have all these awesome tools that we can record with and like programs. So I use Superior Drummer.
Yes.
And I'm literally like going in there like measure by measure, like programming the drums. Like, dude, it takes forever, right?
But it sounds great. It gives you
it's kind of like
to let that drummer, you know.
Right. Yeah. The purpose of that is so that way, like, I can provide the drummer with, again, goes back to that vision of like what I intend for it to sound like, right?
Right.
So yeah, there's a lot of kind of behind the scenes work, but it really turned out. Really
and Joseph, were you in that riff hard community?
No, so I knew Daniel because he had actually reached out earlier on a different project, and I had like tried to learn some of this. I'm getting a lot of feedback of my own audio. Is that?
Are you really?
It's just me.
I don't hear anything on my end. Shit.
I think it went away. Or hold on, let me go to audio settings real fast. Sorry about this.
Okay, now we're good. Check.
I'm glad you brought that up though, because
you were hearing that too. Is it like when I'm talking, or was it someone talking in particular?
I don't hear it when you're talking, but when I was talking, I heard it too.
How about now?
I hear you.
I'm okay. Cool. I'm hearing myself a little bit, but it's not so bad. So anyway, so Daniel, we had been in touch for a different project, and he was on my radar as like an excellent guitarist with like really, really well put together songs with really well done drums. But then that project, I kind of like just didn't have the time to finish it, and it just kind of fell by the wayside. I was actually kind of feeling bad. I was like, man, I hope Daniel doesn't feel like I ghosted him or anything. Like, it kind of did in a way, but then luckily it was just like, hey, dude, I have another project, and it was like, okay, cool, so let's just move forward. And he sent me the Parasitic Septicity material, the 2 songs with fully demoed drums, and it just sounded incredible from the start. I mean, like a really well produced demo track. The drums were incredibly difficult and like more detailed than I could even like perform. It was like better. So I actually like to simplify it down rather than like embellish, which sometimes it's the other direction, you know. But yeah, it was just very cool. It was like one message, he just sent it, and I just said, yeah, I can do this. I would be happy to be a part of this project. At the time, I had just gotten my studio sort of equipped for recording. This was actually my first ever kind of session that I did from my own studio. So I tracked everything at my studio in Long Beach at the time where I was, my own mics, my own drums, my own editing. So that's kind of how that went. So it was just really cool. As soon as I heard the material, I'm just like, I just want to be a part of this. That's kind of the takeaway here. So.
Oh, big time. I know what you mean. That reminds me on how something I'm a part of right now is a band called Annihilator. And my bass player, Alex Dominguez, is an old-time friend of mine. We played in bands like Killamore and Black Lung Conspiracy together in the past. And they had already recorded the music. They just needed some vocals for it. And so it was like, okay, well, I could do this. And I wanted to be a part of it because the music sounded so kick-ass that I wanted to be a part of that project. So I know where you're coming from when you hear that coming from Daniel and hearing the drums already played out for you. Like, wow, fuck yes. So just like playing in a cover band too, sometimes you step up to a challenge of doing something you may have not comfortably have written for a song or performed previously before. And so stepping up to that to the chops that Daniel wrote for those songs, man, only just helped your game even higher to a bigger caliber.
Yeah.
Felt good.
Sure. Right? Yeah, he definitely stepped it up, dude, because like I said, I I originally wanted to have like a Texas band just because like of the live thing, you know, like get out there and play. But it's challenging to find just the right guys, right? Again, like because I wanted it a certain way and I wasn't gonna settle for anything less. So there was a few people that tried out, and you know, we have some fucking blasters here in Texas, like killer drummers and a killer scene, like fucking ruthless, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, some sick cats stepped up and kind of like put their spin on it, and it was cool, but it just wasn't quite like you know, what I was looking for. And so yeah, I ended up reaching back to Josef because I'm glad that he brought this up. I had originally hit him up for a previous project for trying to resurrect my freaking high school band Demise, dude.
Yeah, Demise.
Yeah. Like it's still like a dream of mine to kind of bring that back. And so I had this song and I was like, you know what, that could kind of be like a Demise track. And dude, I discovered Josef, and I don't know if you know this, Tony, but I discovered him from To Violently Vomit. So To Violently Vomit is the band that is playing Disgorge material, but not under Disgorge's name. Because yeah, I guess there's
some kind of copyright BS or something.
Yeah, To Violently Vomit is the last Disgorge lineup that was active, minus the original drummer, who was the most original member, but not the primary songwriter for the riffs. He did contribute a lot of the lyrics and a lot of the sort of band concept, but Diego Sanchez wrote a lot of the guitar for the last 3 Disgorge albums, and so he wanted to keep playing Disgorge material. He just chose the dictionary definition of the word disgorge, which is To Violently Vomit, as the band name. So it's kind of like a Morbid Angel has that I Am Morbid, which is a couple of the. It's kind of like sometimes I say that we're I Am Disgorge or whatever.
Oh yeah, cool story. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Violently Vomit Disgorge connection. So anyway, I'm a big fan of Ricky, right? Now I'm just gonna go ahead and say that he's fucking sick as hell, and I really like his drumming style. So then when like I heard about To Violently Vomit and playing live shows, I was like, I gotta check this drummer out. Like who's filling the shoes in, you know? So that and checking out some live videos. But then something else that Josef does that's super cool is the Cali Death podcast. And if you haven't heard of that, Tony, you definitely got to check it out because, I mean, it's like a legendary trip in history for me, especially, and like for so many in the death metal community, because like I come from that era of growing up in the 2000s of Brutal. And for me, like I'm still like a 2000s Brutal guy, dude. Like that's just that's my jam, dude. Like I ate that shit up. So like, I discovered that podcast because they were like interviewing all my freaking heroes, like Severed Savior, Decrepit Birth, Disgorge. And so I was like, this is like gold stuff here, because like it gets into like the backstory of like the formation of the bands. And I was just like eating it up, dude. Like the nerd in me like love that podcast. So that's kind of how I like discovered Josef, and then plus the To Violently Vomit. So then I ended up just like reaching out on Instagram like, hey man, I love the podcast, and you want to check out this track? And he was down from the get-go. And we did that Demised, and he was showing me some ideas. And man, I just kind of like fizzled away with that again. It goes back to like I probably started writing other shit, or I was like, you know. And then when it came down to like the parasitic stuff, I was like, you know, I'm gonna go out of Texas and I'm gonna try to reach out. And I'm like, you know, Josef's definitely the guy. Because if we talk about like the parasitic kind of sound real quick, one thing that I really like is that I'm really blending a lot of my influences, not only the Texas death metal, but like, I mean, the Cali scene is like what started it for me in terms of like the gateway into like brutal death metal, like all the unique leader bands, right? So like Josef's drumming has that edge to it, where like like the technicality and the tightness of the Cali style, right? and then you bring in some of the Texas, like, kind of like heaviness and rawness and like slam. And then of course, like, oh man, that I'm a huge fan of like the Colombian death metal scene. So I had to get Sebastian, and I knew right away he was the guy. Like there wasn't even anybody else in question. And
who are you singing with right now before you guys?
Sebastian, he also plays in another Colombian death metal band called De Carabion.
Oh,
and dude, if you look at his like resume, it's just chopped. Like, like, and I first discovered him from a band called Bacteremia, which is another Colombian death metal band. And again, dude, like just being in high school, like everybody's just showing each other stuff. I had this really cool friend, Chris, who played in Grotesque Formation. Do you remember that band, Tony?
Yes, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Grotesque Formation. And so he showed me that shit. And yeah, since then, dude, like Sebastian's list is legendary, dude. He's a legend. So yeah, that was super cool to link up with him, man. Yeah, he was down and dug the tunes and just freaking crushed it.
Sebastian used to live in Chile. Now he's in the States.
Colombia, right? Oh, yes. So he's in New Jersey now. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is he in a band up in Jersey?
I don't think so. So I think the Carabion is still it's similar to kind of what we're doing, right? Where we're like
all right,
sort of different spots. I think the majority of those guys are still in Colombia. I'm not too sure, but I know it's based out of Colombia. Super sick, like fucking disgusting.
Yeah, hearing his vocals, I know it's not a first timer. Yeah, coming off like a fucking big time pro. Holy shit, sick, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Super sick, dude. I mean,
he's
that's why of course you knew that had to be your guy. Like having those vocals right there, you're like, oh, that's a platinum. What we need right there. That's part of the vision.
Definitely, dude. And another thing that is like really special to me, dude, is like my heritage. I'm Colombian as well. So like my family and like we're really proud of.
I know. Yes.
Yeah. Like of Colombia, dude. Like everything. It could be like a Colombian badminton player or something, and my family would like love it, right? So. So like that was also part of it, man. I really wanted to have this fusion, right? So if you get the big picture, it's a really cool fusion. This band is like a Texas, Cali, Colombian fusion all in one. And I feel like if you listen to it and you kind of like you can distinctively like get like the Cali parts, the technicality, I would say, like the rawness of the Texas brutal, and then definitely just the Colombian chaos. That's the Colombian style, right? So it's a really nice fusion, and I'm so glad that Sebastian was down because it like really brings that together.
It blows me away. And so tell me, Joseph, how long you had the podcast going on?
We're into our 3rd year, coming up on our 4th year anniversary. I think will be October. So we are at 188 episodes. This week will be our 188, I think. Actually, we have Malignancy this week, just to give a little plug.
Oh, hell yes.
Yeah. But yeah, man, it's all archived on YouTube, and the RSS feed takes it out to Spotify and Apple Podcasts, all those spots. So yeah, check out the Cali Death podcast. It's been going for a long time. It's me. The 3 other co-hosts are Casey Howard, Joel Horner, and Anthony Trapani. And Casey and Joel were in Decrepit Birth, and also all 3 of them were in Odious Mortem. Anthony on his own was also in Severed Savior. So between the 4 hosts, we kind of represent like Daniel was saying, that kind of mid-2000s death metal scene, bands that were signed a new unique leader, and so yeah, it's been a fun ride, man. It kind of just takes care of itself. We just get together every Thursday. And dude, Daniel, we got to get you scheduled on there, man.
Yeah, no, I would love to, man. I'll just nerd out with all you guys there, man. Because like, you guys also came like at the right time, dude. When you started the show, it was like during the downtime of the pandemic sort of thing, and like it just really launched, man. And so like, I always wanted to ask you, like, how'd you guys kind of come up with that idea? Like, because nobody had been doing that. Like, let's kind of like take it back to like this scene that's so memorable and special. Like, how'd y'all come up with that idea?
So I had always kind of wanted to do some sort of like, interview-esque kind of content. And then KC was the one who spearheaded the idea of doing a podcast with me. And then we interviewed Anthony together. And then Anthony just decided he would come on and be another host. And then for the first like real episode, Anthony just reached out to Deeds of Flesh, to Jacoby and Mike Hamilton, and they both just were down to do an episode and make it our like first episode. And from there, I think I might have coined the name Cali Death after the phrase came up in like that first interview. And it really was suddenly like, we've got something forming here. If we just keep interviewing these other bands from this early era, like Deeds of Flesh, we can at least go like 10 or 20 episodes just trying to find bands like you mentioned, like Severed Savior and Decrepit Birth, and bands that these guys were part of. And then from there, who knows where it goes. And then it just kind of took care of itself. If you listen to like the first few, it's a little more like we're nervous and we don't really know. And now it's much more like low-key conversational, more of like a hangout. We kind of fell into like a comfort zone of that. Yeah, that's kind of the start. And it definitely was like a COVID project where we're just like, there's nothing else going on. There's no shows. So let's try to create something to fill the void for people.
Definitely. And it's become its own monster. I can't wait to dig deep and check out some great episodes right there, man. I'm sure it's going to be awesome. Hell yeah.
Dude. Yeah,
man, I can't wait. So anybody out there, make sure you're checking out some Cali Death podcasts. Listen up. Daniel's got so much out of it, so much death metal history that that's what I really like, is get into the metal history and finding out what makes these players tick, or what got them together, what kind of kick started it off. And especially when you get into those early roots, there's a lot to be said there, because they were still breaking ground on a lot of things that were still techniques and things that were coming up in the writing that we hear all the time now. It's been kicking ass since, before the 90s. Brutal Death has been making its emergence and has gone so many different ways by so many badass players having their own visions on it. And just going back and reliving that badass underground history is kick ass. So I can't wait to dig deep into that Cali Death. I'm really excited about hearing about that. But thinking about that, Joseph, is there any other instruments you play besides drums?
Oh yeah. I am a multi-instrumentalist, like the classic kind of like play guitar, play bass. I fell into being a drummer in part because I was mostly into metal at a certain point in my teenage years, and metal drums in particular, like really attracted me to pushing forward in that instrument. And then once you have a few chops, suddenly just everyone wants you to be their drummer. And so I started just, being in my friends' bands, and then later joining bands. So there was kind of like a positive feedback loop with being, with playing drums. But I'm still a guitar player. I write riffs on guitar. I've got the collection back here. Some days
I saw that. You're gonna have to send me some pictures later of that, some of that.
Oh yeah,
going on there. Look at that.
Hell yeah.
Parasitic is A flat, drop A flat. Is that right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I have an A flat. I have an A flat 7 among the collection here. So something I could use for the project. Pretty much all these guitars are in like tunings that my other bands are in. I'm not the guitarist of really any of them, but I like to keep a guitar for each band just in case I want to just learn the riff I'm playing the drums along to or whatever. So
yeah, dude, that's really cool, because I feel like that gives you another perspective, right? So you kind of like can put yourself in the headspace of the guitarist and maybe kind of come up with your own ideas, because I noticed like, I sent you the pre-pro drums, right? But I made it a point to like, tell you like, hey man, I'm not a drummer. I mean, I listen to a lot of death metal, right? So I have a good idea, but I'm not a physical drummer, right? So like maybe some hits don't make sense. Like my drummer needs like a third arm or something, you know what I mean? Or like the fills, maybe I did them backwards, right? So like, yeah, that's where you really came in, and like, yeah, you just like freaking narrowed it in, and just made things so much sicker. You know,
I mean, I dude, your drums that you program are very sick, and I'm a fan of pushing program drum composition like to the limit and like a little bit beyond what's like physically feasible or even possible, for the sake of composition and ideas and artistry. But obviously it was part of the vision that there would be like a real performance here, and there would be that raw or whatever sensibility to it. And that I was happy to provide. And for that, it does take, in your case, like simplifying some parts, some of the fills. I was just like, I don't know if I literally can't pull this off. But then we had a really fun kind of back and forth where I was like taking certain ideas and feeling out, like, I think this is kind of how I would play this. And you would say, listen back to what I programmed, and this is like how that part goes. And I would be like, all right, like, I guess. And it would be like, a half hour just to nail like a 30 seconds of a song or something. But then now that we have the final product, I'm like, I'm really glad that you like wanted those parts fixed to the original programming. And like, I wouldn't have been satisfied myself if I had heard it and realized it wasn't as sick as it had originally been envisioned. So that was like a cool kind of workflow we got into there.
Dude, yeah, it really was, man. And I got to mention how cool you were in that entire process, because, you could have been like, nah, dude, you're like, this is kind of what I'm going to do. Or like, like, this is kind of it, you're going to have to like live with it. But no, dude, you were like super cool with like the feedback loop, right?
Yeah.
And like you even opened my eyes to like certain parts, dude. And one part specifically, dude, that you just freaking took the song to another level, dude, was that gravity blast on it. Enigmatic, dude. Like, because originally, like, I put a hyper blast in there because I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't really thinking about gravity. But like your gravity combined with Sebastian's delivery and like the lyrics that hit at that point, dude, it's just like spot on, dude. Like that part right there always takes me like away.
Nice.
So shit like that, dude. Like, the parts where you came in and really added some sickness, dude. It's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not trying to be like everything has to be like taken a level up. In this case, it kind of was because of gravity is like, more hits or whatever. But it was just the nature of the riff. I just heard it. I'm like, I think this has to be there. Get a little more of like that Defeated Sanity, Chapters, Repugnance era. Throw that in.
Yes.
Yeah,
man.
Right? Yeah, man.
You picture your face during that. Like, what kind of face are you making during that? You're like,
oh yeah. My performance like face is infamous. I like do weird things with my face. I wouldn't recommend watching my face too closely while I'm playing. Focus on my hands. I always shoot my videos from the back so you can't see my face. I already really have a mirror in front of me so that I'm like get a little feedback. That word keeps coming up so that I can like pay attention to how I look. But anyway, yeah,
you crushed it. And that was a treat for me. I got to tell you, Tony, because I went out to Houston and I recorded in Houston, right?
Okay.
But I timed it so that way I could meet Joseph, because To Violently Vomit played in Houston that weekend. So I got to check out like the scores, dude. Like Diego's like my freaking guitar hero, man. Like, I love him. Diego, I love you. And so that was my first time seeing Joseph behind the kid, right? And like meeting him. So that was a super cool treat, like just to see him like freaking destroy. Yeah.
Yes.
So
was that the first time y'all got together?
What's that?
Was that the first time y'all got together?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was it. That was in March of 2024. Yeah, this year in Houston.
Wow. So
Gulf Coast Death Fest.
Looking back, it looks like you started writing a lot of this material that you already it looks like maybe June of last year.
Yeah. So the songs were written in 2 months, pretty much back to back. The first one in April of 2023, and then the second one in May of 2023.
All right.
Then, I just kind of sat on them, whatever. And then it's a lot that goes into it, man. It's not just like, okay, let me sit and write a song and then release it, right?
No, I know you too good to know that that's not the process you would ever take. There's a lot to it, and like you said, the vision, and I know the hardest part really to getting a live band together is finding the right guys, that chemistry, and to feel comfortable that you can trust that guy to play that part that you're expecting to hear every time you're playing that song, and you don't know it until you find the guy that doesn't do it, and you're like, you already know, you know what, it's not going to work out. We got to keep searching, but it's worth the search. It's definitely worth the search. And like you mentioned, hey, we got great guys in Texas, but sometimes the right guy may not come across, the timing may need to be right, and you had already crossed paths with Joseph before, so it was inevitable that you guys kind of were waiting for the right time, the right project, and now bam, it just everything fell into place. And luckily, Sebastian was there and ready to fucking grind with you guys too. I bet he was really impressed when he heard the music. Right.
Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah. What was cool is that like this whole process, right? Like once I sent the songs to Joseph, then he recorded his drums and then sent them back to me. So then I re-recorded to Joseph's drums, and I felt like that just made everything sound so much sicker because like I go back and I listen to the pre-pro, and it sounds a little different, right? There's some subtleties that are different, certain hits or certain harmonics. So I felt like having those drums just kind of gave me this like new energy, and with the riffs, kind of really liked the way it came out. It came out pretty raw and straightforward, and that was all just part of that process, man.
Total sickness, man. Super proud of you guys. You guys have really conquered it, and I can't wait till we get some more, because you're just keeping us wanting more, man. Because these two releases are fucking brutal. I just keep, they're on an easy rotation. It's easy to just let them keep going, man. It's fucking grind mayhem. And let me ask you, with y'all's backgrounds, especially knowing that you've got the Cali Death podcast, and you're so deep in the death metal history as well, Joseph. Let me ask you first, who would you say are the big four of extreme brutal death metal?
I have a big four of Cali, and then let me throw that one out, and then we could see how many of those belong in like the international. So in Cali, it's the first four bands that we interviewed was Disgorge, Deeds of Flesh, Decrepit Birth, and Severed Savior.
Damn.
And all right, I would have to nominate either Disgorge or Deeds to the overall big four. I think Severed and Decrepit are just as sick, but Deeds and Disgorge seem to have a little bit bigger of an influence, like internationally. I would have to put probably Defeated Sanity in the overall big four at this point. I think they're the longest running, most consistent extreme death metal band. So that gives me at least 2 out of 4, right?
Where are they from? Defeated Sanity, where are they out of?
They're from Germany.
Germany.
They actually have, I think, 3 members in the U.S. at this point, though. So it's just still Lele out and Germany left. But
cool.
Yeah, man. I would have to think a little bit. I'm a huge fan of the band Wormed personally. I would put them in my personal top 4.
Yes.
And then what would be my number 4 to round it out? I might just say Deeds and Deeds and Disgorge both belong in there. So I'd put Deeds of Flesh, Disgorge, Defeated Sanity, and Wormed as my big 4. Yeah.
Super sick.
That was fun. Thanks for the question. Yeah, that's sick.
That's a good one right there. Hell yeah. Dan, share me your big 4.
That's pretty much the reason why Joseph is the fucking guy.
You're right. Yeah,
that's my top 4, dude. I mean, shit, man. Like,
yeah, fuck
Deeds of Flesh and Disgorge.
Yes,
man. Just that whole Cali scene, dude.
They came down here, and my band Syntegrity opened up for them, and both those bands, and we were surprised they made the trip out from Cali, but this was probably about 93, maybe, 93, 94, somewhere around there. And it was a fucking crematorium was there. It was a fucking huge show. It was over at the Air Civic Center. And man, to have these bands still out there grinding, just like I'm still able to play it feels fucking great. And it gives you guys, I want to motivate you guys, take care of yourselves. You know what I mean? So that way, yeah, I'll be 54 this year. And I still feel fucking great. I feel like I'm in the best years of my life still. So I just want to hand it to you guys. You guys are playing music that is far above the norm of any metal guitarist. You know what I mean? When I think of metal, you're thinking, okay, Priest, Maiden, all that. The extremity that you guys are taking it to is a whole different fucking level. But that's the way we like it. Somebody else do it. That's why you guys love it. That's why it's getting done. And thank God that you guys are getting it done, because we need that kind of sickness in my life. I need that in my life, and I'm not the only one. We're drawn to this stuff. I'm drawn by the sickness of it. I like the name, Parasitic Septicity. I like the artwork. The music reflects all that, man. The names of the songs. What about the lyrics? Who writes the lyrics for those songs?
Yeah, so I write the lyrics as well. Shit. And yeah, thanks so much, man. Because with death metal, it's kind of like, we're not there to sing karaoke, right?
Right.
But
it's serious shit.
For me, dude, like, and you know this, Tony, I'm a massive horror fan, right?
Yeah.
See Charles over there hanging out, right, in the background.
Yeah, I see him. Yeah.
But yeah, dude. So I feel like this kind of gives me a little bit of an outlet at like short horror stories, and also just for my love as an educator too, teach science. So we get into like symbiosis and things like that, and parasitism. So I always like that sick side of science, and like kind of like grossing out my students, but in a fun way. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So like it's kind of a combination of that. Like I don't know if you remember the show Monsters Inside Me. It used to be on Animal Planet.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. So it's kind of a combination of like, like body horror elements, right? All the kind of things. But what's really cool, dude, about the name, because parasitic septicity, right? Like when we think of parasites, we might think of like the little worm or whatever. But
sure,
I feel like there's a lot more to the name, because nowadays, like there's a lot of things that can be parasites, especially like our technology and just kind of being like consumed by things. So that's sort of the direction I'm heading for the next concept. I did some research over the summer on machine learning and AI. So I like that the name isn't just going to be like kind of stuck in that, like, the little worm or whatever,
Yeah.
There's we can branch out and explore a lot of topics.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's a really cool thing. And then back to the lyrics. Yeah, man, I just enjoy like, having my hand at the pen and just kind of coming up with little, short stories. I'm a big Carpenter fan, Stuart Gordon and all that stuff. So yeah, it's really fun, man.
Yeah.
And it's also a learning thing for me, because I never really written lyrics. And I guess with death metal, I can kind of get away with like not having to like, please a female or whatever, or like rhyme or something. You know what I mean?
Right. So, you don't have to, stick to kind of traditional songwriting formula or something,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I do try to be intentional about like maybe rhyming some things or having hooks or like certain lines.
Sure. Yeah.
But really, dude, it's nice to kind of like, and it might sound cheesy, but I kind of like try to picture a movie in my head, really.
Yeah. And
like the second song specifically, it's heavily inspired by The Thing. That's my favorite horror movie of all time.
Yeah. Enigmatic Assimilation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's when I thought, when I saw Assimilation, I started thinking, holy shit, that sounds something I like out of The Thing.
Right. So exactly like this. And then it's just kind of like also us as humans, we're curious.
Yes.
And we want to learn, what we can do and how we can continue to like make us better. But at the same time, sometimes that comes at a cost. So it's kind of like the song about that. And then also this entity assimilating. So I could be it right now, you know, and no one would know, you know, kind of thing. So that's kind of that. And it works well for those two songs.
Yeah.
And although they're not like directly like a concept, they do work well back to back, because the first one's more about like this parasite that has like constantly evolved and mutated, kind of like a virus, you know, like think of like COVID, right? How it's mutated and there's different strains. So it's kind of, the first song's kind of about that. And this parasite that's evolved, and it's really become a devastating thing, you know, that's kind of like taking over. And in the lyrics, it gets into how the parasite has a conscious, and it's kind of enjoying it. It's also like an area that, that was kind of cool to explore.
Mutations of a putrid breed. Hell yes. That's what it's all about right there. I love it. I love the story behind that.
Yeah.
Do you have like a catalog of some more lyrics that you're ready to put together? Have you already kind of, you know, with your love for horror movies and kind of visioning, you know, certain, you know, grotesque kind of things, have you already got a little catalog to the next couple of songs too?
Yeah. So like I've started writing the next material, and I had the concept before the riffs, I guess. Like I kind of already knew like the direction I wanted to take. So I have the lyrics for one of the songs pretty much done. Like I feel like once the music's put together, I'll go back and like edit it. But I definitely have the next lyrics for the next one. And then that'll kind of like allow me to continue the path of what that concept's going to be. Yeah, I'm really stoked for it.
Oh, I'm sure. Fuck yeah. Because you got the right guys now. Now it's not a matter of looking for the guys. You've already got the band. And so the next material is like, boom. It's going to be sick. Yeah. Can't wait. And, you know, speaking of that, is there a timeline already? Have you made some plans to go back in the studio?
Yeah. So pretty much we're looking at, I really like the workflow of how this went, you know, in terms of like me writing, and then sending off the ideas, it coming back to me, and then me re-recording. The last piece of that puzzle is Sebastian, because and he told me that like his vocal delivery is going to be the most powerful, and it makes sense. Like once Joseph's and I's part are refined and done, you know, because we also had that discussion like Genesis could have come out earlier if Sebastian recorded to the pre-pro stuff, but it would not have been the same, like at all, you know?
Yeah.
So that process of getting it complete, then sending it over to him so that he has like the final tracks to do his vocals over. Yeah. He just becomes a fucking monster.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And
from a vocalist, I know where he's coming from, because I know that is the keeper. That's what I got to work with. I got to make it work. And, you know, and I'm sure you're already going to kind of give them some ideas. Like, here's what I'm thinking. Vocals come in, maybe a verse, chorus, et cetera, right?
Dude. So that's one thing, like with drums, whatever programming, then we have that discussion, and then like lyrics. Yeah. But with the vocals, dude, like Sebastian is the
you don't have to tell him.
Yeah. Dude, I didn't even tell him anything. Like I thought about like maybe doing like scratch vocals myself. But honestly, I did not do that. I just sent him the instrumentals and the lyrics, and he just fucking knocked it out, dude. Like he just fucking, like I'm telling you, man, the guy's a monster, dude.
Fuck yeah. Well, let's keep going. I know you love horror movies, so I want to ask you a question in regards to horror. How about you, Joseph? You dig some horror movies?
I'm actually not so into the horror genre of movies. Okay. I have enjoyed a few, but I'm more into like psychological, like The Shining kind of stuff.
Yeah.
For what it's worth.
Okay.
But classic, all this means is that like I'm still looking forward to like watching The Thing for the first time. Like I've seen lots of parts of it, you know, you're out in the world or you see clips on YouTube or whatever, but I still got to like sit down and but for what it's worth, like I get a lot of that kind of vibe just from being into metal. So I kind of like almost feel like that satisfies my craving for it. I'm kind of an anomaly because I'm not a huge movie guy in general. So for what it's worth. So
well, I'm gonna shoot this question at you, and while you're thinking about it, while I shoot this at Joseph, you thinking about it, Daniel. But is there a slasher that you would love to be murdered by?
No.
Come on.
What would be?
What about Jack? You know, from The Shining.
Yeah, I'll take that. That would be fun.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
You know, I'll send it out to the actress who passed recently from that movie.
Oh yeah.
She did an amazing job getting slashed up by Jack in that movie. So that's a great one. Yeah, I'll take it.
All right. What do you think, Daniel? Is it gonna be Chucky?
Dude, can I go with the twist, man? Can I be assimilated by the Thing, dude? So the Thing takes me over, right?
Yeah.
I'm done, you know?
Yes.
But I'm the Thing. Like, so what if I'm the Thing right now? And like I won't come out until like I feel threatened or something, you know?
Right. We gotta like to the fire to your blood.
Yeah.
Right? The test they did where they tied up all the guys. Oh,
so I think that's super cool, dude, because I can still live my life, man, playing guitar. I can be a dad, you know?
Yeah.
I'm the fucking Thing, you know?
They live, right? They live amongst us. Holy.
Yeah.
I love science fiction, you know, and I definitely believe in UFOs, and I believe in all kinds of shit that I don't. You may call them conspiracies. I just think it's one of those things that I really want to see for myself. But I'm amazed with the truth, and I want to find out if there is a fucking black pyramid in the Antarctica where UFOs come and get energy from, or is there something underwater that fucking UFOs go underwater to? Is there a hollow earth? Shit like that gets me. That's why I like the Godzilla movies that have come out, because they kind of delve into those hollow earth theories and stuff. So I got a super kick out of the New Empire, because they did even more of that. And you know, I wear a tinfoil hat sometimes, but you know, just because I'm a searcher of the truth, and sometimes you just don't know where the truth is, and you just got to keep looking for it until you feel like you finally got it right, until maybe somebody else sets you straight and says, you know what, this is what it is. But yes, dude, that'd be perfect. I love The Thing. That's what I'm talking about right there. I think that's probably one of my favorite answers right there when I ask that question, because being assimilated by the fucking alien and The Thing is fucking awesome. And
you wouldn't even know. Yeah.
Yes. And you know, I've actually been to where is it? In Colorado, where the Sterling Hotel is, and been over there and checked it out, and it's awesome. The Shining is one of my favorite movies, and I love fucking Jack Nicholson. And one of my I looked up, they got a movie that they put out that's entitled after the room number where all the shit went down in The Shining. I saw that the other day, and it's pretty damn good. It kind of just searches into more of, you know, conspiracies and why things were put into the movie in certain places, and, you know, the methods to the madness. Was that Stanley Kubrick that did that one?
Kubrick,
yeah. So you know, there's a lot to it right there.
That one's on my watch list. The like room 132 or whatever the number is.
Yeah, very cool stuff.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you another question, and maybe Dan, you kind of maybe have gone to this, given us a little bit of this answer. But what I was going to ask is, what is something about you that you do that would surprise us, that maybe isn't so metal as you would think that we would expect you to be doing, but would take us by surprise? Like me, I love my garden. I've got a fucking garden of fucking flowers in front that I take care of, and those are my babies. And you know, I've loved to see that kind of grow. but is there something else? I mean, you being a science teacher, I didn't see that. I mean, I know your background, but to me, that's kind of something that most people wouldn't know about you, and would come as a surprise, because that's your day job, and how you're able to take what you like about your day job and kind of incorporate it into the things that you like to create musically as well, into the parasites and the different things that biologically, make this world what it is. What do you think?
I'm really glad that you bring that up, because you're right. I don't think a lot of people know that side of me, and I don't really.
Yeah. You don't put it out there.
I don't really advertise it unless it's something that I'm showcasing. But
right.
Yeah, there's this, I don't know, maybe it's just in my head, but I kind of find this like metal connection with science. I don't know. I feel like there's a very rigid technical approach to it, and there's procedures, and it's like ongoing, and it's very it can be technical, and it can evolve and it can grow, and so I just kind of always been like fascinated by that, and also like nature and like all kinds of things, like chemistry too, and space and things that we don't know, like things that you were discussing. So I feel like all that, like you put that in a pot, and I kind of feel that connection to metal too, dude. Just like in my guitar playing and stuff, like how I like have like a structure approach to practicing, and technicality, and like being brutal and stuff. And so I don't know, maybe I'm kind of like overshooting, but I just kind of feel like there's like a connection there.
I would agree.
My day job, kind of like Clark Kent and Superman sort of thing,
right.
Yeah.
And how about you, Joseph? Is there something that would surprise me that I wouldn't know about you?
Well, people that listen to the podcast know that I am also a teacher. That might surprise you.
Right. I didn't know. Okay.
So I actually didn't realize that Daniel was also a teacher until very recently. But I guess we have two educators in the band, which is really cool. Can I actually ask Daniel, like, what level are you teaching at? Are you teaching in middle, high school?
Yeah, I teach middle school science.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you that question because Tony, Joseph has a nickname called the Professor.
Oh shit!
Yeah, the Professor subject, and I didn't know like where that came from, or like I wasn't sure, like is it because like you're a beast on drums, so you're the Professor, or I also kind of picture you like the other like side A and side B, like you're going and teaching like history or something. But so tell us, dude, what's the Professor?
Yeah, so Casey, my co-host, gave me that nickname, and yeah, I'm like a college lecturer, so I lecture for UC Santa Cruz, where I live is now in Santa Cruz, but I was in like the UC system for a long time, so I was a grad student, and I was in philosophy. I got a couple master's degrees en route to becoming a lecturer. So that might be surprising. It is, I'm still in the humanities and the social sciences. But my second master's degree was from a program that was called Logic and Philosophy Science. I was doing very like theoretical science stuff. I took classes like philosophy of physics, philosophy of biology. Pretty much a lot of those disciplines has like a theoretical side that philosophers like to talk about and stuff. So yeah, I think there would be a really interesting like philosophy of biology talk we could have someday about parasitosis and other cool stuff. So
yes, very cool.
That's super cool, Joseph. Like I had no idea. I've been meaning to ask you about the origins of the Professor. So
that's the story behind it.
Just to be clear, like a professor has usually like a research component to their job. I'm not a professor. I'm a lecturer, so my only job obligation is to teach. So I'm not really a professor. I'm only the professor. So.
You're humble, very humble, and very, very knowledgeable. Damn, Joseph, hell yeah! I want to give a shout out. We're getting some love here from Colombia. Daniel Lara, cheers from Colombia, philosopher here also. So we're getting some love from Colombia. Oh, I love that.
Cheers to them. Yeah, he's a sick ass guitarist, dude, and he plays. Yeah, he plays in the Carabbion with Sebastian, and
Wow, killer
beast.
Thank you for tuning in. Hell yeah. Well, I wanted to kind of wrap it up at about an hour, guys. So I want to get to my closing segment, which is something I call Draw the Line. I'm going to throw out some band names, maybe some artists, and you tell me who you prefer out of the two. Say, for instance, the bands are playing in town tonight, or you got the chance to open for them. I'm going to try and get some bands that I think would be tough to choose from, and you tell me which ones would be your favorite. Daniel, let's get started with you. Tell me who you like out of Devourment versus Hate Eternal.
Oh, fuck, dude. That's a tough question, bro.
Yes, all right.
It's like going back to that big four, I kind of didn't really get to put my comment because, like, I agree with Joseph, but, like, just to make it different, I would have put probably, like, Deeds of Flesh, and then I had to throw a Texas band in there just because of how influential Devourment's been. So it would either be Devourment there or Insidious Decrepancy. And then, like, I would have to throw Internal Suffering for sure in there, just of how legendary they are. And then also In Veracity. So I just had to throw that out real quick.
All right. We got that straight.
But yeah, so it was Devourment and who?
Devourment versus
Hate Eternal.
Hate Eternal. Yes, Hate Eternal.
Mm-hmm. Well, shit, man. I know I just kind of like talked about Devourment and how influential, but man, like when it comes to like my personal influences, like in terms of guitar, like Eric Rutan is like fucking in my top 5 players. Like I just love that guy, dude. Anything he's on, I'm a fan.
Yes.
So Hate Eternal, dude, is like one of my core bands. Like they're just in me.
Hell yeah.
Especially Conquering the Throne, the first one. It's just Eric is just a fucking beast, dude. And you see him playing, and like he just plays with so much aggression, and like he just becomes someone else. But then after the show, he's like the nicest guy ever. Yeah. Like he's so cool. And then like he's like ripping it with Cannibal now. Like, dude, he's like a big time hero of mine. So I'm gonna have to go Hate Eternal for sure.
Daniel, all right. Joseph, what do you think?
Man, that's so tough. I think I've been a fan of Hate Eternal longer. I think they have a deeper legacy, a deeper discography, just a lot of releases. Devourment, it's a little spottier, longer periods in between albums. But I mean, every Devourment release so far is a classic too. And I would say if it came down to a particular album, I might pick Molesting, the first Devourment. But just given the breadth of the Hate Eternal discog, and as a drummer, I think I have taken a lot of inspiration from like Derek Roddy, like you mentioned, Tim Young, even Hannes Grossman on the newest one killed it. So I think they're more of a drummer's band. Devourment might be more of like a frontman's kind of band. Still though, that's a tough question, man. It's worth worth thinking about. So
all right, I dig it.
No, that was a great question. Because, dude, like I remember when I became a Devourment fan, like it was kind of during that time that they split, right? So I got to witness like the release of Butcher the Week, dude, and like when that came out, like having that in hands, and then like catching the shows, and Eric Park on drums, and Majewski, the original lineup, or those guys on that one, I just fucking love. That's my favorite one, Butcher the Week. So that's a hard ass choice, dude. But yeah, like Hate Eternal, just gold.
Hey, Eric, I know he puts them over the top for us right there. All right,
how about you though? What about you?
For me, I'm gonna go Hate Eternal. Yeah. Eric, man, fuck beast.
And the Morbid Angel stuff he's done are my favorite Morbid Angels.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, what do you think about Aborted versus Dying Fetus, Daniel?
Oh shit. You know, I've kind of recently gotten more into Aborted, dude. Cool. Like the homies I was telling you about, where we have the chat. We always talk like, hey, have you checked this out, or like check this one out? And Aborted gets brought up a lot, dude. And like and we share a lot of tabs too. So like we're like constantly like learning stuff, and we'll like challenge each other, like, hey, learn this riff from Aborted, right? And then we all kind of chip away or whatever. And so, dude, I got to tell you, man, that Aborted shit is fucking brutal, dude.
Right.
Like on guitar, like the BPMs.
I can imagine.
Yeah. It's fucking crazy, dude. Like it's really difficult. But of course, like Dying Fetus, man, is like classic, man. And I'm not like the biggest fan, and like I kind of like fell off with them, like with the newer ones.
All right.
But yeah, like Destroying and like Stop at Nothing is a fucking sick one. So yeah, I guess like just for like the new kind of a fan I've become, I'll go with Aborted, dude, because I have also seen them live, and dude, that shit was just like pummeling, dude, like nonstop, just fucking crazy, brutal.
They can deliver the goods. What do you think?
And another thing I really like is like that whole horror theme they have, dude. They have some really cool merch, dude.
Yeah.
Like they came out with like a popcorn tin one time, and like a little Hellraiser cube. Like, so dude, they're like speaking to me, man. It's some of the coolest shit I've seen.
They do.
I really like when bands deliver some like different merch or like new ideas.
Yeah. They are one of those.
Cool, dude. And that's kind of like one thing like I think about too, you know. And so yeah, seeing the Aborted's merch is like really nice. Really cool.
Who do you favor out of them too, Joseph?
Man, so again, a great choice. It took me a minute to really kind of evaluate. I have to go with Fetus in this case. I'm glad that we don't have, you know, all of us agreeing here. But I mean, that Horror Vision album by Aborted was a real big one for me. And I think Ken is an amazing drummer. I expect I'll be listening to Aborted a lot more in the future, but Fetus is just untouchable, dude. Untouchable. I mean, they just have some real classic records that are always fun. And I've really seen Fetus become like a multi-generational band in the sense that like you have kids coming up who are like getting into them when they're only like 12, 13 years old. And they're listening to these guys who are like in their 50s, you know, like still shredding. So I think that kind of legacy building is a really good sign from them. And I think it just speaks to how healthy the death metal scene is right now. It's a really good time for it.
Very well said. Definitely. The metal scene is coming around because you got guys like myself that have been playing in our 20s, had kids, and now we want to get more deep into it like we did before when we were kids. So luckily a lot of us that have survived are coming back and bringing the bands back, or have never even left the bands, have just found a way to balance everything out. And so it's a beautiful time for metal. I think right now is the best time to be alive right now, because there's just anything and everything you want. There's a flavor out there for somebody that just likes metal. So let's keep going. Here we go. Disgorge versus Pyrexia, Daniel. That might be a little easy. I don't know. It might. I don't know. It depends.
It's an easy one for me, but I'm not going to like disrespect or tarnish any of our legacy.
I know you wouldn't be like that.
But I'll wholeheartedly admit that like I've never really dived into Pyrexia, man.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Like I've heard like tracks here and there, but I wouldn't even be able to tell you like consistently like albums and stuff. So I just kind of missed it, dude. I kind of missed it. And dude, Disgorged is like a game changer for me.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget like meeting Diego and like seeing them, because my old band Demise got to play with Disgorged, dude, like maybe 2 or 3 times. And dude, I was like 16, you know?
Yeah.
And I came into like the death metal world, like, you know, with like Cannibal and like Suffocation. And then I was big into melodic death metal, like At the Gates was huge for me. But once I discovered Disgorged, dude, like, that was it. Like it opened like a whole nother world of riffing, and like, and even to the whole band of Demised, right? So like I remember like that night right away, like we went home and like started trying to like Because one thing is like the eighth note riffing, that's huge.
Yeah.
And I got that from Discord, just all that, like,
yeah,
it's tech, right? The Cali style.
Mhm.
And yeah, just unmatched in my opinion. Consume the Forsaken, dude. I got a Consume tattoo.
Oh, representing, yeah.
So it's like, dude, that album means so much to me. And then Diego's just the fucking coolest guy, dude. Yeah. To me, he's like the Steve Vai of Brutal, dude. Like, he's just fucking amazing and so humble. And he fucking still rips, dude. Like, when I saw you guys at To Violently Vomit, I hadn't seen him play guitar in years, man. I did catch him, like, I think one last time before, like, Ricky split and Angel was on vocals, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not quite sure. But, yeah, there was a big gap where I hadn't seen him play guitar. I saw him play bass with Cephalatracy. So it was cool, like, seeing him again. It's almost like the guitar's like an extension of him, dude. He just comes out there and he just got it, dude. Like, all the riffs, the tone, everything, man. Like, I love it. Yeah, he's a big time influence for me and the whole band Discord. Yeah. So yeah, easy question for me, but no disrespect to Pyrexia for sure. I'm gonna have to check that out.
What do you think, Joseph?
I don't have an unbiased perspective on this. Yeah, but I'll just say, I was a fan of Disgorge before I hooked up with Diego and became his drummer, but not like as big of a fan as you might expect. I saw them once. I didn't really know who Diego was. I just was like, well, there's two guitarists, and the guy without a shirt on seems like he's a little more of a personality, but I didn't really, Ed is also a monster, and I didn't really realize who was who at the time. And this was only just a couple years before I joined. This was one of their last ever shows when their Disgorge name is like 2016. So I did really a crash course in like speeding up and like getting in learning the lore and everything about it when I was joining To Violently Vomit. And all I could have said before then was I did like Consume the Forsaken, and I really liked Cranial Impalement, and I hadn't really checked out Sheila Gutted that much. I knew Parallels a little bit, but I mean, I was just really hungry at the time, and I knew it was going to be rewarding to get further into it. And it's really been great. Diego is everything that Daniel said. I just jammed with him last month. And he was playing his backup guitar, his backup BC Rich, which the strings were like 10 years old, hadn't been changed in fucking ever. And he still shredded it. And we recorded that and it's on YouTube, but I'm going to put it out on my own Instagram channel and link it on my link tree and shit. So just if you want to see like up close Diego riffage, really good quality, we've got that out there. And we're going to take it to UK, Manchester. We're playing a fest this weekend. I'm flying out in a couple days. The fest is called Offal Fest. It's in Manchester. We're playing with Cranium, Vulvectomy, a bunch of other sick slamming brutal death bands. So yeah, more Disgorge International. We're taking it worldwide still.
Dude,
y'all are the fucking
so sick, man.
Fuck yeah.
So
all right, go ahead.
I always wondered like how you got that gig. Can you give
again? It was I know we're wrapping up, so I'll just make it quick. It was Casey Howard, man. I was hanging out with Casey, and he just said, Diego asked me to drum. I don't know if I can, but do you want to try? And I said, I'll give it a shot. And I jammed it 4 times before we met up with AJ, who was jamming with us at the time. And we did the first show. I did 4 rehearsals and then played live. So it was wild. Good times. I wasn't working that summer, so I had a lot of time to focus on learning the set. Just for anyone who's really impressed, it was like my full-time thing. So
badass. Fuck yeah. I got time for one more. Here we go. Suffocation versus Cannibal Corpse, Daniel.
Oh shit, man. That's another tough question for me, man. And I already know my answer, but I just say that because both of those bands, like from the start, were there for me, dude.
Was Cannibal your first concert?
Cannibal was my first concert, dude.
Right. I remember, I think your dad told
me. The Wretched Spawn tour.
Yes.
And like I remember, dude, like, because I came from like Metallica, and then it got a little bit heavier, Pantera, and then I got into Slayer.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, what's next, dude? And
yeah.
the life-changing moment was when I saw Live Cannibalism, that DVD. Like, fuck, dude. Still to this day, it's just a fucking performance, dude, top notch.
Yeah.
And yeah, so just seeing that kind of like changed me. And then you know, Suffocation. Like, I love that band so much, especially Doug Cerrito's riffing. And yeah, I will say, like, I'm not as much of a newer Suffocation fan. I mean, shout out to all the guys and Terrence, like, you know, awesome.
Yeah.
But like, I kind of stop at Despise the Sun. And but with Cannibal, dude, like, I can jam like every single Cannibal. And like, I look forward to a new Cannibal, like it's a new Star Wars movie or something.
Yes.
And like, I just feel like Cannibal are the kings of death metal. Like the absolute kings, like the masters, because they have like crafted this like this beast of like being catchy, about still being, you know, as brutal as they can be.
Yeah.
You know, and then the live sound is just like something else, man. Like when you see Cannibal live, that guitar tone is just fucking godly, man. It's just like they have this like awe and this presence every time they come on stage. And yeah, I love Cannibal, dude. That's probably like, still my favorite death metal band. And even like Parasitic's music, like, it doesn't sound like Cannibal, but I do take a lot of inspiration from them in terms of like the songwriting and trying to make parts catchy. And so I do have some intention behind that. And I feel like that all comes from Cannibal Corpse, dude. So Cannibal Corpse for sure. Number one.
Kick ass. They do it right. What do you think, Joseph?
That's all fine to me. But Suffocation put out Pierce from Within, which is the best album. So I'm gonna go with Suffocation purely on the strength of Pierce from Within. The first album, Effigy, is amazing. I like some of the later records as well. And I'm into Cannibal Corpse. I know that they're very, very consistent, and I respect them, and they've put on some great live shows. But I think Suffocation has something for me that's a little, maybe again, it's coming from more of a drummer's perspective. I just think that they've had some more interesting drum stuff than what's going on in Cannibal. But not to shout down Paul. I mean, Paul's sick, but you got to pick one, right? So that's where I'm going.
I love it, man. I love you guys' opinions and the way you back them both up, and from the perspective of a guitar player and a drummer. And there's a lot to be said about that, because the guitar work in Cannibal is so amazing. The drum work in Suffocation is legendary. With Mike Smith getting things started, you know, son of a bitch. I mean, who was hitting that fucking hard back then? Nobody was. And he was set in the bar. I mean, I remember being around here and talking to our drummer. Hey, can you play that fast, that hard? I can try, dude, but fuck, I don't know. But man, he did it. And he that kind of technique it's just something that, you know, me as a drummer, try to get down, couldn't get down. But when you can get it down, holy shit, you become that drummer that everybody wants you playing for their band. You know, so there you go. And Joseph, it happens to you. And of course, you know, hearing the release, their latest release, who wouldn't want either of you guys in their projects? You know what I mean? Guitar, drums, vocalies. You guys, your vision, Daniel, has finally has taken form. It's become a reality. You've got the right players to make it happen. I hope someday that we can hopefully see a live show with you guys delivering the goods with these couple plus more material that you got coming up sooner than later. But I know things take some time, and with the logistical things that we got going on with you being in Cali and Sebastian being in Jersey, it takes some planning, but that's the goal. That's the goal. Just take some time. And like you say, you like the workflow and how things are going with the first couple of songs. It's going to work good on the next couple of songs. I feel good about seeing Parasitic Septicity live within the next year. It's going to happen somewhere, somewhere.
No, I'm glad that you brought that up too, because we've all sort of had these conversations like with Joseph and Sebastian, and like it was kind of like, all right, is this just going to be like an internet project, or do we have plans to take it live? And all the guys are down to fucking crush it live. You know, this music is meant to be played live.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Sebastian is definitely down. I know Joseph is down. And as soon as like everything gets coordinated right, yeah, we'll make it happen.
Yep.
Fuck yeah. Guys, thank you so much for joining me today on the show. It's been a pleasure meeting you, Joseph. I'm excited about hitting the Cali Death podcast. And Daniel, it's always a pleasure getting caught up with you because you're always grinding and you got so much going on. And I have so much respect for you and your game and your skill that I know I've asked you at least 2 or 3 times, come and jam with me. You know what I mean? And it's because I know the same way that you go as musicians go for a great drummer, you want to be surrounded by the best. And that's why I ask you, Dan, because you are one of the best, not only here in town, but in Texas. And what you've done here with Parasitic Septicity is hopefully going to infect and mutilate, and just this infestation will take over the states and just keep on growing across worldwide. So guys, keep up the great grind. Daniel, Joseph, until I can have you guys back on here on the show, thanks for being my guest today.
Thank you so much, Tony.
Thanks so much, Tony. Sick as hell, man. You take care, man. We'll chat soon.
Absolutely. So make sure you guys check them out. Parasitic Septicity on their Spotify, your favorite platform. Go to their Facebook. They have got merch. They've got some killer merch. Great gear. The designs are fucking sick. Check them out. Go to their Facebook page. You can get the website address, get the merch, support their stuff, and let them know you like the stuff. All right. And guys, thanks again. We'll see you again next time on the Tony Gomez Show.
Hell yeah, bro.
Cheers.
Later. All right. Joseph, thank you.